everyone, so let's say you've just bought a pleater, and if that is the case, congratulations! Welcome to this wonderful world of smocking and sewing, and it's just like, it's super addictive and so much fun, and I welcome you to it. So what do you need to do now? First step I say is inspect all of those needles. You want them to have the same curvature within, I mean there's a little bit of a tolerance to that like with anything else, but basically you want them to have the same curve. If one is way out of whack, it is not going to take the same path as those dowels are being rolled. It will have resistance. If you've got like a tip of one needle up and the rest of them are pointed down, that tip of the needle up is going to resist those things and it's going to get broken. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. It will cause you a huge hassle. With pleating needles, all of this stuff, a lot of it is no longer made. Some of it is. We've got generic needles now trying to, bridge the holes that if the manufacturer, the name brand is no longer being made, now we have generic needles. But the whole thing, I think the general consensus is you want to have all of the same needle, because like I said, you want all the needles to have the same path through those dowels that they're going through. If you've got a major curve difference, then they're not going to take the same path through those as the needles are being rolled, and it's going to have resistance, and it's going to break one of them. So the best way to avoid headache is to make sure you have all the same, either all name brand that have the same curvature, that are all generic, and go that route. It is worth it to buy, if you've got a hodgepodge, it is worth it just to start over fresh, buy all of the same, and avoid that headache for yourself. The next thing you might want to do is clean your pleater. I honestly hardly ever clean my pleater and it works just fine, but I do have a video linked down below on how to clean a pleater. It's just following the instructions on my manual, but I do have that, and I'll have that link down below for y'all. Next thing is to use some wax paper. I do use wax paper periodically through my pleater if it's been sitting for a while and sadly hasn't been used. I will run some wax paper through it. If you've gotten a new one, if you've got new needles, it doesn't hurt at all. Just put some wax paper. The idea is that the wax paper kind of gives some lubrication to those needles, and it just can't hurt anything. So it's a good thing to do. But definitely go buy yourself a dowel. Don't even try to pleat, especially if you're a beginner pleater. Do not even try without a dowel. I highly recommend them. Don't get one of those skinny ones. Get something you can like grab a hold. I went to Depot and just bought a dowel there. I cut it in half, and that was it. Okay, I didn't do any sanding or nothing. that was done. Maybe I sanded around the edges that was cut, but it's been so long now. But that was it, and I use a dowel every single time. I've been pleating now for about 10 years. I've done hundreds of garments, and every once in a while I'll do a test piece of fabric and I'll just be like, oh, it's only, 10 inches, 15 inches, I don't need a dowel, and I'll run it through, and every time I curse myself and I tell them, you know better, you know not to do this, and just grab that dowel. At least for me, it makes a huge difference on getting everything to run through your pleater nice and square, and it just makes it lovely and easy and gives you another pair of hands, if you will. The other thing is that you want to only use mesmerized thread. I mean, use whatever thread you want, but I think along in this whole community, what the general consensus is and I'm saying that incorrectly, mesmerized thread, however you say it. It's the thread that's intended for hand quilting, but it has a coating on it, and the coating makes it very strong, and it makes it resistant to any sort of fraying. So it'll go back and forth, in the holes through your fabric. You can, however many times you want to, I'm getting tongue-tied. However many times you move that fabric along the thread does not fray. You know how some threads, like if you move them too much, if they're too, well, like DMC cotton, if you use too long of a length and you're using too much of it, the last bit just gets yucky looking, This does not happen. It just stays nice and clean and neat the whole time. So mesmerized thread is what you want to do, and you definitely want to have a thread box. There's two routes you can go to this. One is the cheap, get her done route, and I have a video on how to do that. I've had that box for, well, since I began, 10 years ago, and it served me just fine, and it's inexpensive. I think it's like 15 bucks and a little bit of time, and like I said, I have a video tutorial on how to do that that's linked down below. Or you can do the a little bit more refined route. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. I think they've got some wooden boxes online. I have not purchased one, so I can't recommend one, but they've got one boxes online. I think they start at $50 and going up. So whatever route you want to go, but you definitely want to have a thread box. That way when you're pleating, it keeps all your threads contained. Otherwise your threads will just go all over your table, onto your floor. It will be a huge hot mess. You will not want to pleat. It will not be a fun experience. So go get yourself one of those or go do the DIY method. Either way, I hope this video was helpful. If y'all have any questions, please put them down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching and I hope to catch y'all next time.